Welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber CCISO Prepcast. This series helps you prepare for the exam with focused explanations and practical context. Data security and privacy are among the most critical domains for executive oversight in modern cybersecurity programs. Data, structured, unstructured, in motion, and at rest, is the asset most frequently targeted by attackers and most heavily regulated by governments and industry standards. Data security safeguards the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of organizational information, while privacy ensures that personal data is handled lawfully, ethically, and transparently. Together, these practices mitigate risks related to breaches, regulatory fines, and brand damage. As enterprises adopt cloud services and pursue digital transformation, the scale and complexity of data handling grows. Making a unified data protection strategy essential, executives, customers, and regulators increasingly expect that data be secured not only through technology, but through a demonstrated commitment to privacy, accountability, and compliance. The CISO is responsible for leading the data protection strategy across the enterprise. This includes developing policies that span data security and privacy requirements, and ensuring that technical safeguards align with legal and regulatory obligations. The CISO's role is inherently cross-functional, requiring coordination with legal teams, privacy officers, compliance managers, and business unit leaders who act as data owners or custodians. The CISO must oversee the implementation of encryption, access controls, monitoring, and data licensure management. In parallel, the CISO must articulate the organization's data risk exposure in terms that resonate with senior executives and board members. This includes highlighting trends, control gaps, incident history, and regulatory obligations. Strategic oversight involves balancing data utility with protection, enabling the business while safeguarding its most valuable information asset. Data classification and inventory provide the foundation for effective data protection. Classification involves labeling data based on sensitivity levels such as public, internal, confidential, or regulated. A complete inventory must include both structured and unstructured data across on-premises systems, cloud platforms, endpoints, and third-party environments. Each data asset must have a designated owner and be documented with usage details and business context. Classification dictates the required security controls, including access restrictions, encryption requirements, and retention rules. Without a reliable inventory and classification scheme, it becomes impossible to prioritize data security efforts, enforce policies, or demonstrate compliance. The CISO must ensure that discovery and classification tools are in place and that classification is continuously maintained as new systems, applications, and data sources are introduced. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Access controls and data handling policies are crucial for restricting exposure and ensuring proper use. Data access must be limited, according to the principle of least privilege, and elevated access, especially for administrators or third parties, must be justified, time-bound, and logged. Policies should govern how data is created, accessed, modified, transmitted, shared, and deleted. These rules must be enforced through technical controls, not just guidelines. Monitoring tools should flag access anomalies, and sensitive data repositories must be protected through authentication, authorization, and activity logging. Contextual controls, such as geolocation or device trust, add further granularity. Periodic reviews of access permissions are needed to identify and revoke unnecessary access. The CISO must work with IT, data owners, and audit teams to validate that policies are being followed and that access to sensitive data is both appropriate and auditable. Encryption and masking are technical enablers of data confidentiality. Encryption should be applied to data at rest and in transit using industry-standard algorithms, such as those defined by FIPS or NIST. Key management systems must enforce role-based access, key rotation, and separation of duties. In environments where sensitive data is used in development or testing, tokenization and masking provide alternatives that limit exposure. These methods replace real data with substitutes that preserve format but eliminate risk. Encryption must be enforced not only on servers and databases, but also on endpoints, backups, and cloud services. Cloud and SaaS platforms must support end-to-end encryption and offer bring-your-own-key, or BYOK, options where applicable. The CISO ensures that encryption is not only deployed, but documented, tested, and monitored for effectiveness. Data loss prevention, or DLP tools, help monitor and control data flows across the enterprise. DLP policies can detect unauthorized attempts to send sensitive data through email, file transfers, or cloud storage. These tools rely on content inspection, context analysis, and user behavior to determine whether to allow, alert, or block actions. DLP policies must be carefully tuned to match business operations, balancing security with usability. False positives and alert fatigue are common challenges that require regular rule adjustments. DLP should be deployed across multiple vectors: endpoints, networks, email, and cloud environments. Alerts from DLP must integrate with SIEM platforms and incident response workflows. The CISO must define policy scope, prioritize monitoring targets, and establish escalation paths for violations. Compliance with privacy regulations is a core driver of data protection strategy. Regulations such as GDPR, CCPA, HIPAA, and others impose specific requirements on how personal and sensitive data is collected, stored, processed, and shared. The organization must define lawful bases for processing data and ensure that individuals are informed of their rights. These include the right to access, correct, delete, and port their data. Data Protection Impact Assessments, or DPIAs, must be conducted for high-risk processing activities. All controls must be documented and mapped to legal requirements for transparency and auditability. The CISO collaborates with the Privacy Office and legal team to translate legal obligations into technical and procedural safeguards. Incident response plans must account for breach notification timelines and jurisdictional reporting standards. Data retention and secure disposal are often overlooked but vital components of privacy and security. Retention schedules must reflect legal requirements, contractual obligations, and operational needs. Over-retention increases risk and costs, while premature deletion can create compliance violations or operational issues. Secure disposal includes overwriting, cryptographic erasure, and media destruction. These processes must be automated where possible and verified regularly. Data lifecycle controls must extend to backups, archives, shadow IT, and third-party services. Vendor contracts must include clear expectations for data deletion upon contract termination or project completion. The CISO ensures that data lifecycle enforcement is embedded into storage systems, retention policies, and operational procedures. Training and awareness reinforce technical controls through responsible behavior. All employees must be trained on how to classify, handle, and report data responsibly. Training should cover secure sharing, phishing resistance, and acceptable use policies. Periodic simulations and campaigns, such as simulated phishing or secure file sharing initiatives, help reinforce learning. Users must acknowledge policies annually, and access to sensitive data should be contingent on training completion. Policy violations must trigger corrective action and, when appropriate, disciplinary measures. The CISO must measure program effectiveness using metrics such as training completion rates, incident trends, and audit findings. A culture of accountability transforms data protection from a checklist into a business value. The CACIO exam includes multiple aspects of data security and privacy. Candidates should understand terminology such as data at rest, data in transit, DLP, masking, and data subject rights. Scenario-based questions may involve unauthorized access, classification gaps, breach response, or alignment of controls with privacy regulations. The exam evaluates the CISO's ability to lead cross-functional programs that span legal, technical, and operational domains. Success requires an understanding of both strategic principles and practical implementation. Data protection is a shared responsibility, and the CISO ensures that policies, controls, training, and oversight all work together to secure the enterprise's most critical information. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cyber Sicilian CISO Prepcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com.